Hello there. Nigel Farage is limbering up for a return to the political front line. So, is Nigel Farage laying the groundwork for a return to frontline politics then? But why should he bother? We've now got a Tory government dedicated to taking back control of our borders, money and laws with an 80-seat plus majority and a Prime Minister pursuing a proper Brexit. So why on earth would Nigel Farage be talking about making a return to frontline politics? Well, because the truth is, we have a pretend Tory government with an 80-seat majority dedicated to a big state, big tax, big spend, Labour-inspired programme and a Prime Minister pursuing a globalist green agenda with Brexit on the back burner, or more probably tucked away in a cupboard somewhere. And just look at where we are as a country. Our borders are a joke. Northern Ireland has been all but annexed by Brussels with no sign that Liz Truss is going to do anything about it other than stand there and watch. The fishing community is still feeling let down, and household energy costs are going through the roof, which together with the swingeing tax hikes, yes, tax hikes that the so-called low-tax Tory party are foisting on us, are going to ramp up inflation, and that threatens a perfect storm of rising prices that will ruin the finances of ordinary families. And while those prices go up, pensioners will count the cost to them of the broken state pension triple lock pledge of this Tory government. And within the next decade or two, households will no longer be able to heat their homes properly because their gas boilers will be stripped out and their only connection with freedom, their second or third or fourth hand car, will become so much scrap iron as electric charging points replace petrol pumps, while bright shiny new electric cars are priced beyond the reach of many ordinary folk, forcing them to where the government actually wants them, onto pavements, bicycles and buses. Then there's the billions that were added to the national debt, with the money being spirited away into some dodgy pockets while the lowly serfs struggled. And they will have to pay for it over the coming decades too. And on top of that, the GPs we pay for are nowhere to be seen, but A&E is crippled. And have we diverged in any meaningful way from the Brussels rulebooks? No, we haven't even abolished the 5% VAT on domestic energy that would go some way towards alleviating the pressure on our family finances. Now, Farage first dropped the broad hint that he was on the way back in a Telegraph article in November last year, where he pointed out that laying on a red carpet between France and the UK across the English Channel was not doing us any favours. As Farage rightly says, this approach to our borders endangers us all, and crucially that those red wall voters who lent Boris Johnson their votes in 2019 did so on the understanding that this sort of thing would not be happening under a Conservative government. But they were and still are happening, with no end in sight. And Farage ended by saying, "Over the last few weeks, I have been approached by several high-ranking donors asking me if I am considering getting back into the political arena. My gut instinct is not to do so, but I will have to give it some serious thought." And he seems to have given it some serious thought, because he followed it up with another Telegraph article last week when he all but called for a regime change within the Tory party by saying that the chumocracy must end and a new Thatcher-type figure is needed. Many MPs on the Tory backbenches are beginning to realise this, but will they have the courage to act in 2022? He wrote. And now today he upped the ante with a new article saying, "A revolt on the right is brewing, and I'm ready to be part of it. And he also said that the Tories haven't noticed yet, but a UKIP-style surge of discontent is building in the Red Wall. Now, the Red Wall discontent is amply demonstrated by the opinion polls that now put Labour streets ahead of the Tories in those seats won recently and now looking temporarily by the Tories. But a recent poll by Focal Data now has Reform UK, which is the Brexit Party renamed and now led by Richard Tice, on 15% in the Barnsley Central constituency. And it is this that might have stung Farage into bracing himself to get back on the stump. And in a YouTube video he also published today, Farage says that something big is going on out there, with those red wall turned blue voters feeling let down. And in his latest article, he says that a revolt of the right in the Tory party brought down both Cameron and May, and it threatens to now bring down Boris Johnson too. I understand the disillusionment of red wall voters who thought Brexit would usher in a new politics, writes Farage. This has not happened. It's just more of the same, a metropolitan Tory chumocracy totally detached from the rest of the country. If Johnson wakes up to this, he can still save himself. I suspect, however, that the revolt on the right will cause another prime ministerial casualty. But one recent poll puts Labour 16 points ahead of the Tories in those same red wall seats, which shows that when blue fails, the electorate instinctively put their cross in the red box on the ballot paper to show their disgust. And when red fails, the cross instinctively goes in the blue box. So the two-party, but single agenda, state sails on unperturbed. And I say that because just one look at what Boris has done as opposed to what he has promised, and you can see that a Labour government could and probably would have followed the same sort of route. Maybe Starmer would have taxed a bit more, spent a bit more, and kept us much closer to Brussels, but it would not be a million miles from the Boris Johnson approach. No, the truth is the real taking back of control is yet to happen. But where we are today is as far as the Boris bus takes us, I'm afraid. And it's a political kick up the pants that's needed right now. And Nigel Farage is looking to be the one that does it. And this could not be better timed, because it looks like Dominic Cummings is about to blow the roof off Number 10 with even more incendiary revelations of restriction-busting parties and shenanigans in Boris's flat and the Number 10 garden. Parties where the host was telling the hoi polloi to socially distance while their loved ones were left to die alone, whilst the cheese, wine and frivolity flowed amongst the anointed of Downing Street. We all know Dominic has an axe to grind with Boris, and in his latest blog post today, Cummings says that instead of looking at the event on the 15th of May 2020, the Downing Street Party inquiry, yes, we have such a thing, the Downing Street Party inquiry should investigate the socially distanced drinks email sent on Wednesday the 20th of May 2020. And he goes into a very detailed explanation about why the earlier do on the 15th of May, which he was present at, was not a party but a work meeting. I'll leave you to decide for yourselves on that one. But he also goes into detail about why the later event on or after the 20th, that he says he didn't attend, should be investigated. He also says, officials I spoke to in 2021 said to me and others that there were various parties after I left, and the PM was aware of them. I have also been told there are other photos of other parties against the rules in 2021, some picturing the Prime Minister. Cummings is out to seriously rock the boat of the trolley, as he unflatteringly calls Boris. Now, I know many people will dismiss this as a non-story and that no one's listening to this gossip anymore. And that's a correct assessment amongst the true blues, but not for many of the rest who feel seriously let down. And things like this can be the final straw on the camel's back. So what's your opinion on a Nigel Farage return? Please like and comment below. Please subscribe and like this video, buy a mug and support me on Patreon or PayPal, and thank you for watching.